we're going to be talking all about Danny Masterson and that whole case. Well, he has been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison after being convicted of rape earlier this year. Now, Masterson, best known for his starring hit Fox sitcom That 70s Show and in Netflix's The Ranch, will be eligible for parole in 25 and a half years, but could spend the rest of his life in prison. The actor, who maintains his innocence, was convicted on two of three forcible rape charges this past May. Now, Masterson was accused of raping 3 women at his Hollywood Hills home between 2001 and 2003, which was during the time that he was on That 70s Show. Now, the jury convicted him of raping 2 women in 2003, but could not reach a verdict on the allegation of the November 2001 involving a former girlfriend. Though the jurors voted in favor of the conviction, Masterson, who was dressed in a suit and had slicked back hair and a full-grown beard, did not speak at all during his sentencing. Many of Masterson's Hollywood family members were in court on Thursday morning to support him at his sentencing. His wife, the actor, the model Bijou Phillips, was crying at the courthouse. His siblings, the Walking Dead actor Elena Masterson, Malcolm in the Middle star Christopher Masterson, and actor Jordan Masterson were all seated in the courtroom together.
Some tense moments in there. And get this, y'all. This is like where I cannot even believe. Masterson's defense, led by attorneys Philip Cohen and Sean Hawley, asked the judge for a 15-year sentence total. Like concurrent, back-to-back, just 15 years total. Now, Holly told the judge she did not intend to minimize the conduct of her and client, but asked the court to consider her client's exemplary life, noting his community service, work ethic, and being an extraordinary father to his 9-year-old daughter who means the world to him. Now, prosecutor Reinhold Mueller told the judge, whether Masterson is a good father does not preclude one from becoming a violent serial rapist whose crimes were targeted and heinous, and he conducted his actions while women were incapacitated after drugging them. These are multiple victims over time on different occasions. After he raped the first, he had time to think about what he had done to that human being, and despite that, went ahead and committed rape again. And committed it again. Judge Charlene O'Malley said as she sentenced Masterson, quote, because she was clearly agreeing with the prosecution here, Mr. Masterson, you are not the victim here. Your actions 20 years ago took away another person's voice and choice. Your actions 20 years ago were criminal, and that's why you're here. I can't believe his defense attorney. I know you're trying to do your job, whatever, but really? He's a good dad? Newsflash, these women he fucking raped, they had good dads too, and they were good women too. Exemplary, like, what the hell, man? Like, that just, that did not fly for me whatsoever. It's like, are you totally discounting the fact that these women's lives were ruined, and now because he's a good, by the way, if you're a good dad, you don't fucking rape women. Like, I'm just saying, like,
yeah, especially like, if you have a daughter, like, what the hell is going on? I just can't, fathom what was going through his head. I mean, all the success and all the fame, we talk about how there is a dark side of Hollywood, and this is definitely a part of it. And I'm super happy that, his Scientology part did not interfere as it tried to do. But I'm glad that we got to this sentencing, because this is a win for the Me Too movement and for people who feel like their voices are not heard. So I'm happy we were able to come to this conclusion.
I think so too, because look, so many times we have to do these stories and we're talking about how somebody got a slap on the wrist, right?
Yeah.
And guys, we're a part of this industry. We love this industry. 99.999% of this industry are good people, but we all know that people are being raped every day in this industry, and it is being paid off, shoved aside, slid under the rug. So I'm hoping that this sentence finally starts to stop that shit and make people realize you can get convicted, you can go to prison for life, and hopefully we can start to see the change that we so desperately need, and get rid of these payoffs and these sweep it under the rug kind of stuff, that mentality, because this is crazy, man. And did you see that video from an interview that he did with Conan O'Brien, like way back in the day when he was still on that 70s show, resurfaced almost immediately after? And he's talking about how his accent was gone. And he's talking about, oh yeah, no, certain words just go away. Like, I have this guy who imitates me and he's like, hi, I'm Danny Masterson. You want to touch my balls? And Conan's like, well, I guess the real question is, why are you asking anybody to do that? And he replies, well, because they're there and they need to be touched. And then Conan, here's the crazy part. Conan goes, yeah, I've heard about you. You'll be caught soon. And Danny Masterson replies, probably. Like, what the fuck? So, I mean, I don't even think, like, he legitimately thought he was going to get away with it. Like, that he was fine. Yeah. It was entitled. Remember, the first trial was a hung jury and a mistrial, and he walked out all confident thinking they're never going to retry me. This thing's over. I'm good to go. Well, not. So I agree with you, man. I hope that, I'm glad we got this verdict. I hope it sends a strong message to anybody else out there that thinks they can get away with that kind of stuff. And, woo. Woo.
Yeah. Oh boy.
25 and a half years, y'all. Like 30 years to life. He's got to wait almost all of that before he's even eligible for parole. And if you guys don't know, he's 47. So he will literally be almost 73 years old before he's even eligible for parole. That's basically a life sentence anyway. So
basically.
See you, Danny.
Yeah, exactly. Bye-bye, Danny boy. Bye-bye. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote letters in support of Danny Masterson to the judge, apparently calling him a role model, trying to, come to his support. And basically, Kutcher's letter says, I do not believe he is a harm to society, an ongoing harm to society, and having a daughter raised without a present father would be a territorial or a terrible injustice in itself. Thank you for taking the time to read this. I'm a little disappointed in that, to be honest. I get it that, it would be hard for me that one of my best friends or you or somebody was accused of rape and went on trial, but they proved it. I just feel like you shouldn't have came out and said something like that.
Well, and Kutcher acknowledged it because he said he's not an ongoing threat to society, meaning he's acknowledging that he was a threat to society, right? So, like, even Kutcher is saying, yeah, I know he did this shit, but can you please have... And look, I'm all for rehabilitation. I'm all for second chances. I'm all for this. But he is still claiming his innocence. He is still trying to deny that he did anything wrong. I can't get behind that. This man should be rotting in prison for the rest of his life because he doesn't even acknowledge that he did anything wrong. Like, bro, when you are drugging women and having sex with them without their consent, there's no way to spin that you didn't do anything wrong. And my argument to Ashton Kutcher would be, and please, Ashton, come on, let's talk about this, because I really feel like a daughter being raised without the presence of her father is a terrible misjustice. I wholeheartedly would agree with that unless your father is a rapist. Unless your father is not the role model that should be guiding you on how a man should treat you as a woman. Is that the role model, the father figure that's going to be a terrible misjustice if he's not around the daughter? Like, I want my daughter to know how a man should be treating her. And it's not fucking drugging her and then raping her. That's not how... So that would be my argument back to Ashton. It's like, I get that homes without their dads often lead to trouble and troubled children, and they end up being troubled adults. But in this case, I think she's better off without his presence there, right?
Yeah.
Go visit him in prison. Have your dad time, but you do not need this man telling you how to be a woman and how to be an adult. And because it just, I'm sorry, but maybe he has rehabbed. Maybe he's a stellar dad. I do not know. I don't know what's going on in that world. Maybe he's a stellar husband, because that marriage, I guess, has been going on for a while now, and she seems very much in love with him. Maybe all that's true, but you're still a rapist who will not acknowledge that you did anything wrong. Like, he's another fucking Bill Cosby. Yeah, you
exactly.
you can't, you like. I don't know, man. I'm glad you caught that. I'm glad you added it to the news, but I'm with you. I'm kind of disappointed that they would come out with a statement like that and just support your friend. Be there. Yeah. Go visit him in prison. Say, man, I wish things had been different. I wish we could have helped you earlier. I wish we could have seen the warning signs and stopped you from this type behavior, right? You're a friend. You're that close. You're that tight that you're writing letters to the judge on his behalf. Where were you when he needed you? Where were you to say, bro, this isn't okay. This isn't the type shit you should be doing. And then maybe he wouldn't be in prison and you wouldn't have to write letters in support, right? That's all I'm saying. Somebody should have stopped it before it happened. Nobody gave a shit then. So I'm just saying, you know how many people just sweeped it under? I mean.
Exactly. It's wild, ongoing. Now, well, kind of not anymore. Yeah, it's it just